Welcome to the Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast, streaming to you as part of the Joe's Disc Golf Podcast Network. And here are your hosts, Ben, Joe, and RJ.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast here, where three of us idiots get on, ramble about, and talk disc golf for a while enjoying a few beverages. Today, I'm going lazy again, enjoying another hard seltzer, but this time a homebrewed Milwaukee brand for myself.
And what's your name?
Oh, Ben, did I forget that part? This is what I get for taking a week off now, isn't it?
Oh, gosh. All right.
I got some family stuff for a week and mess up everything.
Yeah, so my name is RJ. I'll start with that so that I don't forget it. And I am from Auburn, Indiana, and I am drinking a local wine called a Chateau Reserve from a local winery. It's a nice dry red.
Nice. Dry reds are the best. I'm Joe, the third wheel of the group, and I am
the person that actually makes it all run?
Pretty much, yeah. This is a tricycle, okay? Not a motorcycle and not a car. We're a tricycle. Eiffel Tower, what?
Gotta change the rating on this episode already, huh?
And this is where it goes.
Do we want to restart?
I've got my lovely Starbucks mug here. My wife is a teacher, and she doesn't drink any coffee or anything, so I got a free Starbucks mug. And it has got a hot toddy in it again because, it's like 45 degrees outside. And in the Midwest, that's practically summer weather. So what better thing to do than just have a hot drink?
I'm literally in shorts today because, had to. We have a 4 in the forecast. It's shorts weather again.
Yeah.
But kind of like we were talking about pre-stream a little bit too. It was also a good day to get out and get a little bit of putting practice in. And I'm not going into a tournament early this season. That's for sure with how that went.
Yeah, I was kind of planning out my personal tournament schedule.
It's got the Silver Creek Amateur event in July, right?
Yeah. Having a child really limits. Last year, I played the River City Open in Grand Rapids, played Clash at the Canyons in Lockport, Illinois, Delwood, which I haven't looked at the last top 3 for UDisc, but last year in 2021, it was rated like number 5 or 6 in the world. Okay.
I don't think
they just came out with their rankings recently.
Yeah, I'm going to pull that one up.
But the top 5 has a lot of European courses this year.
Does it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. But at best case scenario, I will only be able to do one actual tournament that's not in the Fort Wayne surrounding area-ish. Just because having a child and having a wife.
Okay, Simon.
Get you guys up in town here and can find a tournament around here to play in.
If I learned how to spell UDisc.
What? I don't want to know how you actually spelled it.
DSIC.
Yeah,
I tried to type too fast. All right.
Yeah, my tournament schedule is, let's see, I played in one a few weeks ago, and my wife and I have signed up for a doubles putters only tournament here in the middle of March. So,
is it like a one putter thing, or do you get a range of putters?
Any putter that you want, and it includes stuff like the harp and
like harp zone and all those
weird that are
the approach disc.
Yeah.
I know somebody asked.
They have that nice deep rim on it.
Yeah, I know somebody asked about the bounty, and they were like, "No, that's a mid range. That's not a."
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's definitely a mid range.
It's a 4-speed. It is the same speed as the harp.
But
is it really?
But the rim is a mid range.
Oh yeah, it's a mid range. The only reason I know that is because my bag is categorized by speeds and then by stability. So even though the bounty for me should slot in between my warship and my patrol, it actually slots in between my harp and my lucid judge.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And I have mine organized by type. So I have mid-range, fairways, and then I have distance drivers. And then from there, it's stability from least to most. Because I have a putter pouch, because I have a cart. So I have a putter pouch that I have
fancy.
separate, where I have my harp, my slammer, guard, blowfly, and 2 judges, hard judges, and then 2 soft judges. I have a shitload of discs.
That's my bag right there. You know, what you just described in your putter pouch is what I carry in my bag.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think I sort by category, kind of. It's what I classify them as far as like what I'm using them for. So I have my 2, my putting putters in one pocket, and then I have my 2 approaches in kind of that, like a similar pocket.
Yep.
And then I kind of go with my off the tee putters. And then I have, my mid ranges, fairways, and distance drivers. But like what's in the fairway and what's in the mid range are more what I feel. Like I definitely have my harp. My throwing harp is by the throwing putters. I don't have it categorized with my mid ranges. And then I have, I think, my roller disc in the in a side pocket.
Yep.
Because I don't feel like taking it in and out of the bag on days that I need a roller. I just leave it in there.
Yep.
And I don't know why I do, because I still never throw it anyways, because I don't trust myself on a roller. But for like that one shot that every now and then, that's the disc I need.
That forehand roller to get you out of the woods, out of the bush.
Yep. And I have one park near me that I've realized I'm actually throwing that off the tee, because there is literally a tree in the middle of the fairway that drives me nuts. And I hit it 100% of the time if I hit the fairway. Like I've never made it out clean. So I'm like, screw it. And I throw a roller on that one, because I figure if the disc is this wide as compared to this wide, there's less of a chance of hitting that tree. And I have still rolled it into that tree in the center of the fairway because,
Skills.
Why not?
Skill shot. Today, that's what it is.
Kayla and I were kind of just dicking around in the front yard, and I was just kind of we had actually taken the junior discs, and we were playing closest to the pin with the junior discs. I hit the freaking telephone wire with a frisbee, like less than an inch thick to less than an inch thick, and I still found a way to hit the wire twice. I'm like, that's not even possible.
How many times on hole 2?
On 10.
How have I hit 10 and 2? Have I hit?
I don't have the distance for 10.
See, I don't have to worry about 2 because I throw around the telephone pole on that one.
Yeah. No,
not
the
pole. I
pole.
go over the golf course and come back pretty much. Yeah, no, I'm saying I pretty much go out to the golf course and come back the way I play that hole.
You throw a Simon line?
I throw a giant hyzer on that hole. I don't bother attacking it, but 10 I'll hit it. And it's like, oh, that's a perfect drive. It's got the right amount of turn on it, and it's dead.
There was definitely one time I was warming up for a weekly, and I was with 2 of the pro guys, and we were just warming up. We're like, let's jump on 10, throwing a couple, and I threw one, and I was like, that's perfect. That is perfect. That has an ace chance.
Yeah,
I had
I've circle 1 and everything. There's nothing to worry about.
I had a slight Annie. It was beautiful, and then I watched it shoot straight up in the air because I hit the line.
Yeah.
With a distance driver, that is less than an inch thick.
Yep.
And it just, we just watched it, and everybody just kind of was like, oh, sorry, buddy. That looks so good. You were at least going to park the hole.
Oh, man.
I got the top 10 here. So starting at number 1, to no one's surprise, Maple Hill.
Yeah. That is definitely a dream course I want to play eventually.
At some point, that will be a destination.
Yep.
Then we've got Krokel Disc Golf in a town I'm not even going to try, Norway.
Do it.
Then there's Hillcrest Farm on Prince Edward Island in Canada. There are a lot of markings on these letters. Overas Disc Golf Park in Vestnes, Norway. Kapasu Pro at Heinola Disc Golf Park World, Heinola, Finland. I got this next one. Brewster Ridge Disc Golf Course, Smuggler's Notch, Vermont. That's where they're going to have the MVP Open, I believe.
Okay.
And then they're hosting Worlds the year after. Then there's Eagles Crossing in Missouri, which is a brand new course. It's supposed to be really good.
I've heard mixed things about it. I've heard some people being like, yeah, it sounds like it's essentially the ball golf version of a disc golf course where it's there to be a business, and some people are unhappy about that. But
here's the thing, the guy literally spent millions of dollars of his own money.
And didn't was Eric McCabe maybe involved in the design of that?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm honestly not sure. I know McCabe designs a lot of courses.
He designs a lot of good courses. I mean,
have you guys ever wanted to design a course? Just random question, but
I wouldn't mind it. But like, what I'm noticing too is like, I'll drive around town, and it's just like, I just don't feel like around me that there's a really good plot of land. How people can just take, like, when we were helping with Tillman, I know Joe and I did a lot of work out at Tillman trying to get that set up.
And we weren't even there at the beginning.
How they thought of the course, like, there were not those lines. I mean, I remember the first time I helped was when they were really clearing out 18.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a hole. There was absolutely no line whatsoever. I remember talking to Brian. He said he was crawling through the honeysuckle, like literally on his hands and knees, crawling, pulling flags, saying, this is going to be a good line for this shot.
Yep.
And I remember coming out there, we had a wood chipper, we had a bunch of chainsaws, and they had a bunch of guys in work gloves just dragging crap. And all of a sudden it's like, now when you look at that hole, you're like, oh yeah, that's how that hole is supposed to lay out. But that was not there. There was no vision for that. So like the people that can go and do that,
it's not
I
like
don't
there
have
was
that kind of creativity.
It's not like there was like a deer trail or something where you're like, oh yeah, the way this kind of curves, that's going to be good.
Yeah. I think I'd be good at designing a hole here and there, but not a course.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I grew up on a farm in the Midwest, and looking back, I'm like, man, I would kill to put a disc golf course on that little farm.
Yeah.
Like,
even
it'd
just
be
a couple
fun. Yeah. Even if it was just like 9 holes or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, oh, that would be such a fun thing to do. But I mean, just going and looking at, some random plot of land, that would be tough, but I think it would be fun. But anyway, moving on, Joe, what was number 8? What were we on, 6 or 7?
Eagles Crossing was 7. 8 is Caliber Disc Golf Course in Sandpoint, Idaho. I don't know anything about it.
No.
Flip City Disc Golf in Shelby, Michigan. I'm actually going to try to make a stop there this summer. It is on the Lake Michigan side of Michigan, but my family, my in-laws and everybody, they're renting a cabin for a week up in Boyne, Michigan. So way up there, like 2 hours south of Mackinac Island kind of thing. And it's kind of on the way. And there's a dog.
That's it. That's how he keeps control of the dog now, isn't it? Just force him to sit in your lap.
Yep.
Yes, my research assistant Pepper was researching. What's that? Oh, yes, my research assistant Pepper was researching the tastiness of cardboard. And so that was not what we wanted.
The answer was quite good.
Yes, according to her, it is quite tasty and nutritious. I have doubts about her taste palette, though, because she also tries to eat her own poo.
Yep.
So,
and the last one here is Blue Ribbon Pines in Minnesota, which there's a stop there, and that's is that what's his name? One of the touring guys? Is that his course in Minnesota?
Are you thinking the Kaleveska course?
Yeah.
That's the Belton, I think.
That's the Belton? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. The Belton is the old Kaleveska course. Or I shouldn't say old, it's still a fairly new course, but...
Yes. I know what you meant, though.
Yeah. But yeah, so... Yeah, there's a couple. Like, I know Maple Hills is definitely one that down the road I can just see a handful of us that have played together saying, you know what? We're taking a summer trip. The kids are old enough to finally get out of the house a little bit. Yep. We're going to go fly somewhere. And that's definitely one that I would love to play.
The Canyons at Delwood Park in Lockport, Illinois, dropped 14 spots to 22.
Okay.
To be fair, though,
And
like
those are
some of these
based off
courses
of,
are
like likes on UDisc or rating on
UDisc
UDisc?
ratings, and then there are modifiers on there that, like, if it's a new course with under so many ratings, it gets penalized.
Okay.
So you can't just like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, Tillman, this is the first year, and you, me,
Those
and Jay
have-
are the
yeah.
only 3 to rate it, and it's 5 stars.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not
That makes sense.
a good.
Yeah. But all right. Well, do we want to get into what we were actually
actually
going
gonna
to talk
talk
about today? Kind of getting
nice
into
15-minute
tournament season
intro.
finally here.
Wait, I thought we were doing our in the bag today.
Only half of it.
Oh, well.
Which one of you two was that came up with the group name? Was that RJ?
No,
Weird.
that was
Did I?
Joe.
Was it Joe?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think
It was
I
a-
made the comment
I think
about.
we all kind of started going with it, and then I made some bad joke because that's what I do about being half
That's
in
what
the
we all
bag,
do.
and then it's like, wait,
Wait, that actually
actually,
works.
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
does in the bag videos, so we're half in the bag.
And
Yeah.
when we talk about disc golf, we're usually a little buzzed.
Yeah.
At least when we go off on rants long enough to make
Wait.
podcast worthy.
Buzzed or buzz?
Yeah, how many Z's were on that buzz?
Let's not put too many, otherwise we'll run into some copyright issues.
No kidding.
But
I dropped
See,
anyway,
that would be more fun for Macbeth. Rather than the clause, just add an extra Z.
that's what
I
Chris
think it'd be
Dickerson
way
is
more
actually
fun.
going to do.
Yeah, what Dickerson?
So, well, Joe, where do we want to start it here? Do we want to go through skip-based stuff? Do we want to go through...
I think skip-based stuff will probably be the easiest.
Okay,
Question
and then we'll
mark?
probably lead us into some of our stuff later.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So we're
going
doing
back on our 3-person
weeklies, right?
draft...
Oh, yes.
I have no choice in my lineup because Paul Macbeth and Joel Freeman are not going to be at this tournament. So I have my only 8 playing in the starting. So my 8 for this tournament, I'll be Adam Hammis, Kyle Klein, Drew Gibson, Nico LaCastro, Paul Yuliberry, Garrett Gerthy, Nathan Queen, and Thomas Gilbert, which I'm not upset with. I'm not upset with at all. There was zero part of me that wanted to look into some of the free agents and stuff like that. I was kind of getting worried when also I'm like, okay, Macbeth isn't traveling, Joel isn't traveling. Please tell me my, lower rated guys are traveling because I'm in trouble now.
Yeah.
But
Well,
how about you guys? Are there any choices on your end?
I had one choice.
I did too.
And that was, Bradley Williams. Oh, wait, hang on. I haven't looked at this one. Is Gavin playing this?
Well, while he thinks about that, I'll go ahead and tell you my choice. So Mason Ford is not in this one.
Okay.
So obviously I had to drop him. And then I ended up leaving out Gannon Burr. I know in the past we've talked about, I'm a little bit worried about that Nico rule and, first tournament. I want to see him go out there and not get called for, 3-4 days?
Yeah.
I can see that.
So I want to see him not get called. And it's not like I'm really hurting on people here. My lineup is Richard Wysocki, to give him his proper title. Chris Dickerson, Kevin Jones, Cale LaVisca, James Conrad, Nathan Sexton, Emerson Keith, and my lowest rated player, who actually I think is going to do really well for me in this tournament, Ezra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it turns out I had no choices, much like Ben. So Gavin Rathbun, who's still coming off that shoulder surgery, he is going to be at Waco. That'll be his first tournament. So he's out. And then Simon Lazad's been a dad for all of 2 weeks, and he's already using his kid as an excuse to not show up.
Says the guy
Slacker, right, Ben?
Says the guy that said that he couldn't play in any tournaments this year because of his kid.
Not couldn't. I have to pick and be very selective. And I am choosing Delwood to play the Clash at the Canyons if I can get in.
Yes.
Last year, within 8 minutes, there were 70 people on the wait list from when it opened up. Yeah. I got on right at like 7 or 8 o'clock on the dot whenever it opened.
Yeah.
And by the time I finished my registration, I was like 40.
I mean, at least for your sake, you can range between the amateur classes. So you could pull from a bigger group had they want to bounce people around here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's not like you're stuck one way or the other where you're true AM3 and it's like, go have a spot in AM1. Be like, okay, well, I'm going to get
technically by my rating, I shouldn't be playing AM1.
Do you fall in 2, I'm assuming?
Oh, yes. I am a 908 rated.
I still don't have a rating. I've yet to play a sanctioned round.
And I forget what...
I'm yet to have a PDGA number, so I am also unrated.
But you would be higher than me, because at least your stuff has been PDGA rated.
Yeah.
That is true.
So
that means I'm a better disc golfer, obviously.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm a 0 rating, where you at least probably fall in 800 somewhere there.
No.
Here we go. Player classifications. Advanced. 935 or better.
Okay.
And my worst rating or my worst round was still top 50% in AM1. And that's at 2 A tiers. So it's not that I'm just playing C tiers. Although I will say in the Fort Wayne area, C tiers in AM1 are pretty brutal.
Yeah. There's a solid group out there for sure.
I might as well go through my whole lineup here. Yeah. I've got Eagle Winnie McMahon. I think I said his middle name right. Winne. Win.
I didn't know that you listed the middle names in there anywhere.
Only certain people.
I think only on his.
Yeah. And Kona. Because it's Kona Star Panis.
Is that actually her middle name?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why her being at Innova was a good fit.
Yeah, because of the star plastics and all that kind of stuff.
I'm sure she never got tired or still never gets tired of that joke. So I've got Eagle, Calvin Heinberg, Matthew Oram, or Matty-O, Linus Carlson, Bradley Williams, Andrew Presnell, and Big Sexy, Jeremy Coling, and Andrew Marweed. Because Simon and Gavin are not at this tournament, so I don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
I feel like Joe is may very well just absolutely smack the crap out of us with his top 2 people.
Potentially.
But then who knows what'll happen after that?
I mean, Eagle, I don't know with that shoulder.
Well, we'll get into it.
He did just fine in the All-Star stuff, it seemed.
Yeah?
Yeah, but he was also throwing lefty.
Yeah, for his forehand-based stuff, he was busting out the left hand, which just makes me even more upset that guy can throw that far with both hands.
Yes.
Like, can I have a quarter of that? Would make me pretty happy.
Hey, you shouldn't be upset that he's amphibious.
Yes.
So, all right, so let's bust out the lineups there. The what do we call them? Lottery picks here. The weekly stuff. So, going forward, it'll be the 6,500, but for this week, we kind of got locked into the 6,000 here.
Yeah. And, which will make things really interesting going forward.
Things interesting, but I gotta say, once I kind of pieced it together and used literally every single point I possibly could,
I've got 2 left.
I have 1 left.
I have 0. I used all of it, but I'm actually really happy with how it lines up here. So,
do you want to go first then?
I can. So my order that I have here, and I don't know if they're in any particular order. I don't think it matters really.
I think they put them in an order by their rating.
Is how it falls in.
Yeah.
But,
I
have Kevin Jones, Ezra Aderhold, Matt Bell, and then I got Brody Smith. And the reason I picked him, one, because he was kind of one of the better ones at that low 1,000 rating, but also the openness of the course kind of lets his power really shine. And in a long, open ball golf course, I think he can do pretty well. And he had a pretty decent finish last year. So those are my 4 guys. And then for my FPO, I got Evelina and Rebecca Cox. I kind of took 2 of the further throwing women based off of kind of where they go there. So because I was looking at some of the top guys, I really wanted to take a couple, and I'm like, God, I got to spread this out a lot. So I was happy with my picks and how they fell out that way.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and say I have 2 people that overlap with you.
Okay.
In my 6 picks, I have Ezra.
Yep.
And I also have Evelina. My other 3 MPO picks, I went with Calvin Heinberg, Jackie Chen, and Seppo Paju.
Yep.
Okay.
I leaned a little bit into some of those foreign players, thinking they were maybe a little bit underrated. Thought that maybe they might be a little bit of a nice value. And it kind of worked out well for me because Jackie Chen ended up taking a huge ratings hit. So I ended up getting like an extra 30 points between when I picked and when the ratings came out. Now, that might come back and burn me as he might go out and absolutely, drop the ball on me. But I ended up picking up Ezra because I was able to bump up, and so I'm not too mad about that. And then my other FPO pick is Kona Panis.
Okay.
Kona Star.
So we have a little bit of overlap here. We all have one FPO player in common. I have Evelina too.
All right, good news. If she crashes and burns, we all crash and burn
Yeah, we all
together.
crash and burn together.
Yeah, for those of you in our Skip Ace League, in this weekly league, which is, if you want to join, you can still join. The code is 3CQF? Question mark?
I have to open a different page.
So someone verify that for me, but
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So it's 3CQF. If through the magic of editing, that may or may not be on your screen or in the show description notes.
If I remember, so far we're
And we
over.
just put another task on Joe. As long as he doesn't edit at 1 in the morning, we should be good.
Yes.
We don't talk about that.
If you want to not have to worry about it in the show description notes, go to the at Half in the Bag DG on Twitter. It's the pinned tweet. It's right there. You can find that code if anyone's still listening at this point.
And now work on RJ to post that the next couple of days.
That's already up.
Yeah, it's already up. It's pinned.
Got to toss another couple fresh posts out here.
That's true.
So that, and then I also have Jackie Chen.
Okay.
I have Ricky Wysocki and
So
Calvin
you spent
Heinberg.
all of them on going for number 1 here, huh?
And Calvin Heinberg.
You spent all of your money on number 1 and number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Technically 4?
Yeah, Calvin's
Well,
No,
no
Calvin
Paul in
should
this
be-
tournament.
3.
Yeah,
So-
well, I'm going with overall.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you go with overall ratings, I think he's 4th. Is it
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Eagle, Ricky, Paul, Calvin?
I think it's
Either way.
Ricky, Eagle, Paul, Calvin, but yeah.
Whatever. They're all like 3
They're all
points.
within like 2 points. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
It's
And then I have my dark horse pick here, Colby Anderson, who's never played this tournament before.
rated at what, 800?
9. Let me click on his.
Is he rated higher than you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hang on. It's taking forever.
Joe
to
is
load
going with
here.
the strategy that I used in Skip Ace
stretch of
last
how
year.
many points do I have left? Please, if nothing else, just get me a 0 and not a negative.
Jackie Chen is 994. Colby Anderson is 976. Rooting for you, buddy. Rooting for you. And
Then who's your other
Evelina,
FPO?
And then my number 2 pick is Missy Gannon,
Oh,
Yeah,
not a bad
which
pick.
is
Not a bad
a
pick.
solid pick there. So.
which is about as good as I could have taken. Like Colby and Missy, like it's pretty much like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah, and I'll have to. I gotta get Kayla in because we kind of did this last year. You know, the 4 of us, we had Kayla join, and for not knowing a single disc golfer outside of Ricky and Paul, she beat all of us.
It was probably
So
better.
We're just going to kind of see her random picks coming in this year. I'll have to get her to join and just have her
Just
make
kind
us
of-
all feel bad about ourselves.
Yeah, because we
last-
actually
The
look
3 guys
into
that
it.
pretend like we know what we're talking about and get everything completely wrong, like every football analyst ever.
Yeah,
much,
I mean, last year my strategy was literally take Paul, Ricky, and
And then fill in the numbers, huh?
Yeah, and Paige, and then fill in the numbers.
Yep.
It
And
did not go well for me.
I
when
don't
we
even know if you
played,
could do that this year and still fill all your stuff.
I don't think you can.
You cannot. I mean, maybe at 6'5".
You'd have to leave blanks. You'd have to leave blanks.
But you
for
can't
sure.
do that. You can't do that.
Yeah, I don't
Are you
think it'll
looking
let
at it right
you.
now?
No, I tried to do that last year and you couldn't do it because those lower tier people cost you points.
Oh yeah, I suppose you get negatives if you don't fill a slot or something.
Otherwise, it would make go with Paul, Ricky, Eagle, and then fill in the top 2 FPO players and
call it
profit.
Leave it. So all right. Well, that should be fun. I'm pretty solid. I'm just so excited to be back in tournament season. Yeah. My YouTube channel watching has gotten a little dry lately. So kind of, especially in the disc golf world, there's a couple people still putting up good content, but I'm excited for
rough in the
quality tournament coverage. Yeah. I'm really excited for some good tournament coverage coming up here.
It's been rough. To add to the conversation, to note for everybody, if you are a PDGA member, you get to watch Las Vegas Challenge for free on Disc Golf Network.
Live, correct?
Live. Yep.
And I'm sure they'll have post-production. I know Jomez always does that.
They just announced it. Like, it's been super late. Everybody's getting worried that they weren't going to be able to do it. But they just announced that they'll be there. So you'll get to watch that. PDGA members will also get to see U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship. And then I forget what the last tournament of the year is. It's right before MVP Open. Because MVP and Green Mountain Championship are playoffs for Pro Tour Championship. Yeah. Yeah, I know. All the way in like September. And I forget what one of the other ones was. And then I think you get the last 2 rounds of Worlds. Don't quote me on that exactly. We're still far enough out.
I remember they just posted a bunch of stuff because they're upping their game and they need the extra money to kind of count for what they're upping. So they increase the prices, but they're giving more away for free. Kind of counter that.
So it comes out, if you are a PDGA member, you get a 50% discount to Disc Golf Network. Your price has gone up $1 from last year, which still comes out cheaper than paying for USDGC to watch that as pay-per-view. Because at bare minimum, it was $20 if you're a PDGA or a Disc Golf Network subscriber. Otherwise, it was $25. And so an extra $1, $12. Confused groan.
Well, let's be fair. If you're going to sit and pay to watch it, you're going to
watch it. Yeah.
If you're one person that's like, I don't know if I want to do this, and you weren't going to watch it anyways, and you're only looking for post-production, you miss out on a handful of tournaments a year that don't do the post-production, at least with the big companies. There's usually, the disc golf guy and stuff like that kind of always seem to have at least some card out there.
USDGC was the exception.
But there's, that's the one exception.
They'll get the one that Colby, what's his face is on?
Anderson.
Yeah, Colby Anderson is on.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah. That's his. He's on a card low enough that it's just his buddy on a cell phone recording it because that's where Joe had the cash left for point buy. Good luck, Colby. We do wish you the best. If somehow you come across this, we are all rooting for you just for the sake that
we really need to finish 69th or better because that gets you 0 points in skip ace.
Just get me something better than a 0.
Anything worse than that is negative points. So I want you at 69 or better. After that, I don't it's bonus.
With the way you started this and now just asking someone to be at 69, you're really going to need to change the rating of this video before you put it out.
This podcast has gone downhill so fast.
To be fair, we
was it ever uphill
to start?
And we didn't think we could get lower, but we've somehow dug a hole and climbed in it.
Yeah. You thought the Grand Canyon was low up until you found it. You can still dig down.
Yep.
All right. So
let's go.
Before we dig ourselves any deeper, do we want to get into our Las Vegas Challenge predictions?
Yeah. So one thing that we kind of talked about was we're going to try and pick essentially who we think is going to go 1, 2, 3. And then a name that maybe you haven't heard of or haven't heard in a while, and that you think may finish decently. Now, does it mean top 10? No, but maybe a name that you haven't heard of in a while that could have a top finish.
Oh, I misunderstood the assignment.
Yeah. I'm going to have to also pick one off the top of my head.
I think my women's dark horse is like number 5 in the world.
That's fine. Well, maybe someone that most people haven't heard of recently.
I think most people have heard of Hayley King.
Well, then it's not a dark horse.
Yeah.
That's not dark horse at all, sir.
No.
She's one that you're expecting to finish well.
We're looking for a female Colby Anderson here.
I was going to say, you're looking for your Colby Anderson to work their way up.
So
just do me a favor. Click on the list, the list that's going. Scroll really quick, and where you stop, that's who you're looking at.
I have this one. It's Sammy the Tutu Maze.
You're doing what I did with fantasy football. You're picking Humanua just for the name.
No, I mean, she's actually on there. You can't see it on the screen, but she is the lowest rated player in the Las Vegas Challenge.
She is rated 694.
Yes.
The next closest person is Danny Cox at 828.
Yeah.
And her name is actually Sammy the Tutu Maze. PDGA, you're going to help me out on this one. I need to look this up.
Sammy, we're rooting for you too. Just so you know.
I did not believe you when you said that. No, it's 2 I's and 1 M.
Okay. Well, anyway, let's start looking at our boys here. So I'm just going to read through maybe the top 10 last year. So last year, in first place was Eagle McMahon, followed by a tie between Kelvin Heinberg and Ezra Adderhold. Then Garrett Gerthy, Ricky Wysocki, Drew Gibson, Kevin Jones, and Brian Earhart tied for 7th. Paul Macbeth in 9th, and Clint Kelvin in 10th place.
Yep.
Can I choose him as my dark horse?
Macbeth is not going to be there.
What's that?
I said Macbeth
choose him as my dark horse?
And Macbeth will not be there. So outside of that, the next one in 11th was a tie between Conrad and Yuliberry.
Okay.
So I know for me personally, I did not do the research as much as I should have thinking about this, but my gut instinct is telling me I think Kelvin Heinberg is going to come out with the win.
That is also who I have as the winner.
I'm going to go Kelvin Heinberg, followed by Ricky
Calvin,
Wysocki.
we just jinxed you. We're really sorry.
Yep, I'm going to go, Heinberg, followed by Wysocki. Then probably, I don't know if I love it, but I'm going to go with Garrett Gerthy as my number 3. I just feel like he's going to come out shooting hot this year. I don't know why. I think he's going to come out shooting hot.
It depends on how much he has to putt.
Yeah. I mean, hell, if his Eagles are tap-ins like they've been in years past on that course. And then let's save our dark horse pick for after, for the sake of I need to start looking into the list while you guys talk.
Yeah. So
go ahead,
couple things here, RJ. Do you want to take a guess at where Sammy finished at her only Pro Tour event last year?
Did she win it?
No.
Did
Paige Pierce won it last year.
Did she come in last?
Yes.
Oh no.
Do you want to know?
You need to find a new dark horse idea there, RJ.
Do you want to know what the stroke differential between her at 46th and Tony Wysocki, I apologize, at 45th was?
Between 46 and 45.
How many strokes?
Let's put it this way. What was 45 at?
Plus 72.
Oh, goodness. I'm betting you're looking at least 30. I'm going to go with she shot a 108.
RJ?
I'm not going to slander Sammy's good name here, so, I'm not going to...
122.
Oof.
In fairness, that is probably better than most of us would do.
Oh, yes. And then 44th was a plus 50.
So a 60 stroke plus lead.
So
80 stroke lead for 2 spots.
The difference between 45 and 46 was 50 strokes, and the difference between 44 and 46 was 72 strokes, which is what 45th got.
I mean, that means when you're on that final card, you really don't have to care how you shoot that last round.
And Paige Pierce shot a 25 down. Katrina Allen shot 24.
140 stroke difference on probably a 3-day tournament.
What a spread.
Oof.
And then there was Jessica Weiss at 8 under.
You got
So
a range,
first and
is what you're
second
saying.
were
You
up
got
there.
a range, is what you're saying.
Yes. So
Yes.
I wish you all the
right, well,
best.
who wants to take their next crack at a top 3 for guys?
All right, so my
Go
top
ahead,
3
Joe.
are in third place. I have Ricky Wysocki. He is my only reason for putting him third is because I think there's going to be a handful of shots where he's going to reach for something and not exactly execute 100%. Like, it's going to be really close, but he's going to have something, you know what I mean? Because he's still learning his bag. Yes, he was with Latitude, but I think there's just going to be a little bit. Like, I think he's going to get third place by like 2 strokes.
I think that's the exact reason why Ben and I kind of knocked him down in our yearly rankings, was because we thought there would be that little bit of learning adjustment. So
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying absolutely tracks.
Then I have Ezra getting second place again. He really went off last year. So he looked really well at the All-Star event this past weekend, or 2 weekends ago, by the time you all hear this. He got 5th place, and his score put him in 5th place. The way they did it, the head-to-heads, it didn't really matter all that much.
One of 2 people to pick up 3 points for their team on the weekend. Him and Owen Scoggins.
And then I have Calvin winning it. He is in a contract year. He in his win at the All-Star weekend, his round rating was 1090. His 14 down was 1090.
And being the third, arguably the third best player right now.
Yes. When
you have $1 million contract and coming up on a calendar year, if he can put together a season, they're gonna have someone's gonna have a hard time not paying him a good amount of money.
Yes.
Who is he currently with?
Innova. So probably not if he wants to get paid.
Who knows? Maybe they're letting people go to be able to afford him.
Maybe?
Because I can't imagine they're going to want to willingly let him go for anything.
Yeah.
No, I suspect not. The question is, where would he... Well, that's a whole nother discussion, is where would he go?
I have no idea.
I don't know how, how
I don't know who can afford him.
He doesn't really show any emotion one way or another, but I'd say you have to follow the paycheck. At his age, with his skill level, follow the paycheck, I think would be
So you're saying he's going to use his degree in chemical engineering?
Yeah, that's right. He is.
He's also smart, very smart.
Yeah.
And chemical engineers make a pretty penny. He could work for one of the companies and design a new plastic.
There we go. Love
Perfect.
it.
You got your own brand of disc that you made the plastic for.
Yes, literally.
That would be really a cool situation.
That'd be hilarious.
I would buy a Calvin Heinberg created disc.
I promise you I would too.
Calvin, if you're listening to this,
probably not.
Hey, go ahead and give us some free promotion, please.
When this podcast makes it huge in 10 years, come back and listen to episode 6, 7, whatever this is.
That far in. We've rambled that many hours in a row about this.
Oh my gosh! Right?
Yeah.
So you said your top 3 were Ricky, Ezra, and Calvin.
Yep.
Okay. So as we kind of said, we were all kind of in agreement with who we thought was going to win, because I have Calvin as number 1 too. So the way that I made my predictions is I actually used some metrics from at Disc Golf Doug on Twitter. He does advanced statistics for disc golf, and the metrics for the Las Vegas Challenge were that Eagle should be number 1, Calvin number 2, Ricky number 3, separated by 3 strokes about. Then it's Ezra, Kevin Jones, Chris Dickerson, Garrett Gerthy, Drew Gibson, James Conrad, and Adam Hams.
The one
I'd
thing
not
I
go
can
straight
say
chalk.
that metric might not include, or that it probably does include, is previous finishes, because one that stood out to me that none of us said is Kyle Klein.
Yeah.
So
I was debating him.
Mm-hmm. So the way that works, because I've looked into this a little bit, is that it breaks down holes based on like mixed, wooded, open, distance, et cetera, and it basically looked at what the holes were classified as, how they scored on those. And then actually he gave Eagle, I think, a 4-stroke deduction because he lacked the forehand, and he used it apparently 16 times last year in the Las Vegas Challenge.
Yeah.
So actually I have Eagle at number 3.
Okay.
And the reason why is because, hey, he dominated last year. He's still, the metrics still love him for this year. I just think, similar to what you said with Ricky, Joe, is he's going to go into his bag and he's going to try something and just not quite execute it. Either a left-handed shot or a turnover forehand, something where he would use that backhand.
That forehand.
Or that forehand.
Yep.
And he's just going to get himself in trouble, take that 1 or 2 bogeys that's just going to separate him. I also have Ezra at 2.
Yeah, he's solid.
The reason why he's building his game. Yes, I don't want to get on his bad side. Ezra, if you're listening to this, I don't know why you would, but please don't come beat the crap out of our co-host Ben for not picking you. or Joe and I for picking you second. And then Calvin Heinberg, I have at number 1. A little bit more, I think the consistency in the bag puts him above Ricky. Like you said, finished tied for second last year. And I have that feeling that he's going to come in, and I kind of think of him in that tier in between Ricky, Paul, Eagle, and that next group. So he's kind of in this weird spot. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come out, get a win. We talked about how he didn't have a win last year. Get a win early on, establish that, and really put his name in that next tier.
Yep.
I would not be surprised at all by that.
Yeah, I kind of count him as like a 1.5. Like, he's not even on the chase card. He's just the 4th guy on the lead card.
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah.
And even last year, he was right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds stupid, but I'm kind of expecting a breakout year from him.
I hope so.
As much as the number 4 player in the world can have a breakout year. But, maybe similar to what we saw with Eagle last year, where he starts, picking up multiple wins in a season, really establishing himself as that third person in that Paul and Ricky conversation.
And it's going to get harder now to win multiple times in a year. Just look at how deep the field is. That's the other thing. That's the exciting thing, too, is you don't know. You've got 6 guys any given weekend that can win.
Well, and I went through that top 10 there. Names that we didn't include. Kyle Klein. Names that we didn't include. Nate Sexton. Paul Yuliberry. Some of these other guys that you would
really
are either
players.
up-and-comers or really solid players that can still hit their run on any, week of.
We haven't even talked about. So I've got my dark horse.
Okay.
I got my dark
Colby
horse
Anderson?
for the men. I don't think I gave my FPO predictions.
No, we haven't done FPOs yet.
We haven't done FPO predictions.
So I've got my dark horse. It just came to me.
Gotta slow down your drinking a little bit.
I almost just said it as a person to watch out for this year. He is not eligible to win Rookie of the Year because they changed the criteria, and that is Scott Stokely.
Yep.
That's my dark horse.
That is a good one.
I don't know how, is that a good dark?
I want to see him do well.
I do.
I think it'd be a fun story for the sport to see him do well.
Because he's, 50?
Over that, I think. He's in his 50s, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I thought so.
But he's been down there he's very active on social media.
And he's been honestly training with Disc Golf Strong to get in better shape.
Yep. Every day he's kind of posting a workout at Planet Fitness and, running into people like Ezra and doing stuff like that. So, he's lost a lot of weight. He looks like and sounds like he's in much better shape. He's stayed active with the game because for years, where I kind of saw him is for the last handful of years, he's been doing disc golf, like YouTube, like this, clinics. Yeah. And so obviously he's talking about form. He's practicing form. His technique is going to be really solid. So I'm excited to see him.
He's never really been away from disc golf. He's been out of pro disc golf, but he's not been away.
Yeah. So I would really like to see him do well.
Yeah. So
I don't know how he'll do on one of these big bomber courses compared to the young guns with the big old noodle arms. But he was a distance record holder, I think, prior to Simon, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say he was the one that held the distance prior to Simon.
No, it was what's his name. What's his name.
Boss.
It's not,
he had the Blizzard Boss.
Yeah. He set the record a handful of times.
Ben, what is that?
The Blizzard plastic is the
no.
Oh, this is my sober up because I've kind of sort of been drinking all day.
His backhand.
Welcome to Wisconsin, folks.
Pretty much.
His backhand it was a summer day out. It was a solid 40, so we cracked a beer by 10 o'clock and sat outside.
Sounds nice. I was working a hockey tournament, so it was actually colder inside than it was outside. It was sled hockey, though, so it was really interesting. For once, the officials were not the only ones that had an impairment on the ice.
Yeah. You had made a comment about that, and I said, well, I'm glad they don't discriminate and still give them crappy refs like every other sport.
Hey, we all know that officials, healthcare plans don't include vision.
Correct. So Scott Stokely held the record for a little while for a backhand at 211.32 meters, which according to this conversion on Google is not as far as I would have thought. 693 feet.
But that's also not the, where the records are being taken now in 60-mile-an-hour tailwinds down in the desert with zero resistance.
But look at Calvin and Girthy and Drew Gibson throwing it over 600 feet while still having to be accurate.
But at the same time, too, plastic differences.
Oh, for sure. But still,
from in the last 30 years.
It's one of those things where I'm like, wow, it just feels like it should be further. He also set a record for the longest sidearm at the time, which was 568 feet. He is 52 years old. And you want to guess how tall he is? He's very tall.
Let's say, isn't he 6'4"?
Taller.
Oh, he's taller than 6'4".
He's 6'7", according to Wikipedia.
Wow.
So, if this is like...
so he was the original.
If this is like any high school football team,
arms.
He's probably actually 6'4". But
and if it's basketball, he's about 6'2".
No, I honestly really like that pick. He's one that I know we've kind of tossed the name around just because he's a fun story, but I think
he could do something.
How much off-season kind of training he's done to get ready, I think he could be a top kind of top tier kind of finisher. I don't think he's going to be good enough for kind of 1, 2, 3, but I'd love to see him kind of top 10, top 20, and really kind of bring his name back and make us have a reason to talk about him.
So, my dark horse pick is actually going to kind of be in that same line, in that it's someone that if you're paying attention to the nitty gritty, you probably know, but I'm going to talk about a European player. Linus Carlson.
Nailed it.
Right, I'm changing my pick then. That's what I was going to say if you didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to go with my other pick of Brody Smith?
The dark horse brand.
Shut up and talk about your pick.
Yes. So Linus, as far as I can tell, he's the highest rated European player. Definitely in this field. I believe that he is.
He's 1,000 something. I forget what it is. He's
in this field. He is the 13th rated player. We talked about it in the skip ace. I think the Europeans might be a little bit underrated because they haven't been. They effectively in the cycle that they are being judged on they have not played in America.
Yeah.
Effectively, which means that they haven't played against the guys that are 1050, 1040
setting
consistently.
Their ratings to be as high as they are.
Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised at all if, and again, this is something that I talked about with my skip base picks with Seppu and Jackie Chen, who obviously isn't European, but some of those foreign-based players,
Same idea, and even worse in like Taiwan, where
coming from that exactly coming from that kind of foreign regions, I expect those guys to come in, and that's something that I'm sure that we'll talk about with the women's field. But I expect those guys to be a little bit underrated. So he's definitely someone that I have to keep an eye out for. I think that he could make some big waves, maybe break into that top 5, top 10 discussion pretty easily, depending on how he does. Obviously, depending on how things go for him.
Yep.
I don't know exactly what to expect from him, but I think he's definitely someone to look out for.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, I don't know if you guys would allow me to take, where'd he go? Last year's 43rd place finisher in Kyle Klein and call him a dark horse. Last year didn't do well, but I really think that this course, or at least the one that's on the ball golf cart, I can't remember because they played one course twice. Is it Wild Horse twice and then another one once?
So I looked into this. So even though it's on a ball golf course, it has 3 of the 5 shortest actual courses on the tour.
Yep.
Because it's basically all crammed into one facility, which is not what you would expect from a ball golf course style course.
Yeah.
Obviously, you think of Emporia, which is
the most,
massive. But
so the Infinite Discourse, I believe, is the shortest course at just under 8,000 feet, and then the Factory Store and the Innova course, I believe, are the 2 longer ones at about 9,000 feet. So, and that's men's side. Women, I think they're about the same distance apart, just, about 500 feet shorter.
Slightly less.
There is, on the shortest one, there's OB everywhere. It is brutal.
I remember that.
And that's
it's
the
worse.
thing that's kind of fun with this
They've made
course
it very technical.
And the hazards. I mean, when all the holes are by the greens.
I hate hazards.
But the greens are hazard. So you can putt from it, but you got to take an extra stroke, extra stroke.
Sand traps too.
Sand traps, same kind of deal. It's not necessarily wide open because they can still hide the basket with a bunch of OB, even though it's open to get there.
They've actually, with a few of them, have changed where the tee pad is, and there are 4 or 5 more holes that it's a blind shot to the pin. You can't see
going
it.
Around a tree kind of thing.
And I say it's short, but it's still like 350.
Yeah.
For those guys, that's short.
For your average course, it's a long hole, but for pro courses, it's a short hole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, assuming I can't take that, RJ kind of mentioned, and I kind of talked about the dark horse himself and Brody Smith. I just really do think it's a course that could fit him really well. But the one I'm going to go with is actually Casey White. Does a lot of social media stuff kind of alongside. He's been doing a lot with Ezra lately. He does a lot with Simon on occasion, Discmania player. He's got a big, long arm himself. Does some things. His motion is awkward to watch, but he's got a whole lot of arm speed when he does go. He's got a lot of extra herky-jerky movements in his throw, but wow, can he rip on a disc when he feels like it.
He can smooth it out a little bit.
I mean, he looks like he throws short when he teams up with Simon and Ezra all the time, but, the fact that he's even keeping up with those. But he also keeps up with them. It's not like he's way short. So I think he's one that could do pretty well. Let's see, where did he finish last year? 43rd. He was actually tied with Kyle Klein last year.
Perfect.
So I guess that's just where I want to hang around is that area.
So what you're saying is that you expect one of the guys that finished 43rd to really step up this year.
And actually, Brody
or someone who hasn't played in 15 years.
Brody Smith isn't terribly much a dark horse. He finished 25th last year.
Yeah,
I remember
his first, and that was his first ever pro tournament. So, like, I don't even know if he's that much of a dark horse as much as maybe even a front runner for a top 15 kind of spot.
He's not, like, his season last year wasn't as bad as people would have thought. I know he had to miss some time with,
but his ups were a lot higher than I think people were expecting the ups to be.
And I think he had to miss a couple tournaments last year with COVID. And then I think his first tournament back after that was a little rough because he was recovering from that. And the fact that you don't go out and play for 10 days, like from what I understand, he actually had, it wasn't like, oh, I tested positive, but I'm fine.
Yeah, it was.
I think he actually was sick. So you don't throw a disc for 10 days, 12 days.
You get a little bit rusty.
Especially at that level. Like the three of us can go out, not touch a disc for 10, 12, 14 days and probably shoot about the same. And nothing will change. But
I might
those guys,
shoot better.
We might actually shoot better. But those guys who
dropped
throw
their
a
bad
disc
habits for the
every
first
day,
half.
Yeah, after 10 days would be good. It turns out after 3 months, not good.
No.
Well,
but
before we get too bogged down in this discussion, do we want to move on to the FPO?
Yeah, let's move on to the ladies here. I guess I can start it back up. My number one.
We're starting at number 3.
Number 3. I'm going to go Evelina, I think, at number 3.
Okay.
Paige at number 2. Kristen at number 1.
Gosh darn it, now I have to switch up my order.
I
have those same people, but in a very different order.
Yeah,
I think that's how I wanna swing it here.
It's funny that we say that that's kind of all of our people. As I kind of mentioned, I think that the European players are such a wild card here. So we just don't know what to expect. Yeah, we saw Kristen come over and kind of dominate the field last year.
Yeah.
Do we still expect her to do that? Do we expect her to do that with the people that were consistently beating her in Europe?
In a head-to-head matchup.
Do we expect Paige to step up? Do we expect Katrina to step up?
In a head-to-head matchup with Kristen and Paige, it was Kristen taking it at 2-1-1. The only loss was at Worlds. They tied at some other tournament, and then Kristen beat her up pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
but Paige is also one of those players when she's on.
Oh yeah, she's on.
She is hard to touch when her putting is going down. I mean, she can make up for an okay drive, which her okay drives are still very
really good.
Some of the best in the world.
But
in the FPO
when she's putting, I still think she's extremely difficult to catch while she's putting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, will she be on?
Yep. I mean, that's always her question. I mean, when she's putting well, she's winning courses by 20 plus strokes.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, was it what tournament was it, Joe, that you said that she and Katrina were like 2 strokes apart, and then they were like 20 strokes ahead of third place?
That was an obscure tournament called the Las Vegas Challenge 2021.
Oh, okay.
They were 25 and 24 down, and then third place was 8 down.
Yeah. So I will say the name that we didn't mention here was Katrina Allen. Mm-hmm. Obviously, being Paige heads up in the
by 3 strokes at the All-Star event.
Yeah, at the All-Star event. Are we underrating her a little bit?
Was she throwing her DGA bag at that? I honestly wasn't paying that close attention.
She was.
Okay. Yep.
She had the big DGA logo on her back too.
I'll be honest, I did not watch as much of that as I was really hoping to. Mm-hmm. I was disappointed in the coverage and had a hard time really getting into it.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
I figured that was my opinion. I don't think it was awful. It just wasn't my flavor, and I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, maybe you should actually listen to our episodes, Ben.
I really probably should do that.
Might pick up on some things that we need to improve. Like, not drinking as much or something.
I mean, I'm just going to go with it probably helped not having me there, so...
No.
It was our shortest episode yet.
It was. Not by much. We still made up for it, don't worry.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So, I guess, RJ, do you want to pick
orders
your...
do you guys have
what's your order, RJ?
I really struggled with this. Joe, go ahead and tell me your order.
All right, so I got Paige in third. So just kind of going off of, I looked it up on Statmando, and you could do head-to-heads. So as I mentioned before, Kristen Tatar is 2-1-1 against Paige matched up. They tied. Oh, I see. I have it written here. If I actually read the article I'm going to publish here tomorrow, I would have all my answers. Reading's hard. I went to a Catholic school, okay? We just looked at the picture.
Didn't you write this article? Or did you just plagiarize it?
Shh. Work smarter, not harder.
And
the only loss was at Worlds, which I think was the first one where she came here. So I think some jet lag had to play into that. I could be wrong. And then they tied for third at Des Moines Challenge. Now, looking at everybody else, over the last since 2019, Kristen Tatar has played against Henna Blumroos 9 times, and they're 3-3-3. She has played Evelina 6 times and 2-4. Henna has lost to Evelina. It is 11-4-0 in favor of Evelina in 2020 and 21. They're both Finnish, so they were able to see each other a lot in 2021.
I don't think they're finished. It sounds like they're still on the ascendancy.
Yeah, no kidding. So I'm putting
the jokes
Paige
don't
in
get better,
third.
folks.
I'm putting Paige in third, Kristen in second, and Evelina first. Just based on all these head-to-heads and just trying to do the math. I feel like what's his name from The Hangover, all the math going through my head.
And you don't have Henna up there, huh? You think Paige will still
I think she's going to be like
show
fourth.
a little bit of American, a little bit of American pride in there?
And honestly, looking at their ratings and how they all play, between those 4 plus Katrina, like, there's your top 5.
So,
I could see
fun
that.
fact, Katrina is the 7th ranked player in this field.
Who are
as
the
far
two?
as ratings go?
Mm-hmm.
Who are the other 2?
It's Paige, Kristen, Henna, Evelina, Hayley King, Sarah Hokum.
Okay.
And then Katrina.
We never talked about our top 10 from last year, so I got that right here. It was Paige
what is
number
the
1,
top
Katrina
10?
number 2.
Yeah.
Then we had Jessica Weiss, Owen Scoggins, Hayley King, Sarah Hokum, Kona Panis, Rebecca Cox, Missy Gannon, and Valerie Mandawano, or however we pronounce that I still can't figure out. And then Madison Walker was right after that.
Yep. Yeah,
there goes my dark horse, because she apparently finished top 10 last year.
But the FPO field is smaller,
deeper.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And now you're bringing in, we're bringing in at least 3 big names from Europe, not including the, smaller names. I mean, you got the 3 big names coming over.
Yep.
Plus more.
So a ton of people.
I'm sure that neither of you know this, but do we know when Kristen, Evelina, and Henna are actually getting into Las Vegas? Like, are they already there? Are they getting in? I mean, I'm assuming they're not playing Holly Finley. Okay. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. I would be surprised if they were pulling Holly Finley and getting there 3 hours before it starts. But
with an international flight that far, there's bound to be a delay at some point.
Yeah, no kidding. Man, it's so hard for me to split.
Yeah.
Because I could really see Paige going and gritting down and winning this. And I could see those 3 Europeans coming in and just being like, no, we're the 3 best players in the world. Take your place, Paige.
Screw you guys.
Screw you guys. We're not going home.
Yeah.
I could also see a little bit of knowing the course and those girls struggle. And that you see Paige, a Paige Katrina Missy final too.
Yeah,
I could see it both ways.
It's so tough for me. I don't know where to go with this. I think I'm going to end up copying Ben and going Evelina 1, Paige 2, and Kristen 3. Is that what you had, Ben?
That sounds about what I said. No,
Yeah,
I had Kristen 1. I had Kristen and Evelina flip-flopped.
I mean...
Okay. There's just so many questions. I don't know where to put these girls. They're all so good, and we just don't know. So let's talk about some other unknown quantities because so the wild cards, obviously, as I said, are the 3 Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
They could go 1, 2, 3. They could finish out of the top 5, all 3 of them.
Yeah,
I think that's reasonable. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of my take on it. Is we could also very easily see a Paige, Katrina, Sarah, Owen, and Missy, or Heather, or Kona. Insert whoever you want there at the bottom there.
Mm-hmm.
Coming in and dominating with that. So as I mentioned, my wild card, or not wild card, but my
dark horse, I guess would be Rebecca Cox.
I like that pick.
Yeah.
I have her for my weekly, so I really like that pick a lot.
Yeah, we talked about, what did she finish, 7th or 8th last year?
A good person would have left that up 8th.
Yeah.
8th. Yeah, so, I think that she's got some talent there. I think that she's got some, I think that she's got an arm on her. But we'll see kind of where this goes. Obviously, Kona did well in the distance last year, so she's another name to watch for. And then the other person that I had circled, I don't know that you can call her a dark horse because, as I mentioned, she's the 5th highest rated player in this field, is Hayley King.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a big arm, up and comer. I wouldn't be surprised to see her make a push too.
Mm-hmm.
No, that makes sense.
But
I could see that. I could see her wanting to come out with a new sponsor and really kind of put a stamp on the start of the season, really try and nail it down of yes, I deserve this.
But by that same token, I think about when I play in tournaments, which is not the same at all as when these pros play in tournaments.
What?
But, if you think about it, it's that same concept of, okay, I need to hit this shot. I need to, or I can hit this shot. I can do this thing. Kind of the same thing that I talked about with Eagle. Just having almost that irrational confidence to hit a shot that you probably can't hit or probably don't quite execute as well as you need to.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that same thing happening with Hayley and, maybe struggling a little bit in this tournament for the same reason that we talked about, Ricky struggling or, Kat or whoever struggling.
Yeah. I was kind of leaning towards, one that stands out for me, and she doesn't really qualify for dark horse too much, but Owen Scoggins.
Is it? Wait. It's not Sammy the 2-2?
No. I'm going to go slightly higher rated than that.
Sammy, we still love you.
She really shouldn't qualify as a dark horse, so I might have to come up with another pick. But she's just a name that I really wasn't super familiar with the last few years. And it's not like she hasn't been around. She's been on the tour for a while.
Yep.
But I just, especially kind of watching her with some of the All-Star stuff and just kind of watching some highlights of her over the last couple of years, she is kind of the name of consistency when it comes into women's disc golf. She doesn't have a whole lot of swings one way or the other. She's not necessarily fighting for anything with Paige and Katrina.
And her putting is amazing.
I think she's going to have a really, really good finish.
Is it fair to say that she kind of reminds me of almost like a Calvin or a Chris Dickerson, in that they're just super consistent?
Yeah, even
you're not
you know
gonna
what you're
see
going to get. They're never going to really surprise you one way or the other. The only surprising thing is also you don't see their name in the top 10.
Yeah.
That's the surprising part. Assuming I'm not really going with her, the one that also kind of stands out for me is Zoe Andyke. I know she's got a decent social media presence. Not that I've really followed her. I think she's with the Trilogy brand. At least last I recall, she was with Trilogy brand.
I believe she was.
That might be wrong.
I think she was.
When I click on her player profile in UDisc, her driver is the Emperor, the mid-range is her Pathfinder, and her putter is the Hard Link. I honestly don't even know what brand that is.
Infinite?
That might be. She had she had a pretty good finish last year. I want to say she was top 20 last year. And I saw her signed up, and I just think that she's kind of... I mean, she's one that kind of has a little bit more swings, but a couple times I've seen her on the lead cards. I think this nice big open course is a good one for her. It allows her to kind of play that S curve. She doesn't necessarily have the big power, but it allows her to create more shots, and I think that's something that she'll be pretty good with.
Okay.
Yep.
I could see that.
So my pick is Jennifer Allen.
That was what I was debating on.
She won the
Shelly Sharp.
Shelly Sharp? Yep. I was about to say Shannon Sharp, and that's not the same.
I did that a couple weeks ago.
Close. You got a lot of the letters the same, and the last name spot on.
Yeah.
So my thought. Well, last year she finished 18th. She is the 11th, tied for the I guess she's tied for 10th highest rated player with Heather Young.
Okay.
She is
right in front of Kona for our listeners.
Yep. She's been on tour for a long time. And I don't know, just got a feeling.
I mean, she's got an arm. She's got one of the bigger arms on the course. Her putting is not good. So she's kind of like the female Garrett Gerthy in that way, where she's got a really big long drive. She can pull off some shots that you just don't really expect to see. But then putting overall will kind of hurt her score in the end.
Yeah. So, fun fact about her. Her first tournament round, according to the PDGA, was in 1999.
Yep.
I didn't even realize she's been around that long.
Well, that was a B-tier Pro-Am. May of 99. 2000, she had a few more. Oh, she had an A-tier in there.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, not at all the. Yeah, 99, she was still an AM. 2000, she converted to Pro.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but totally besides the point.
Yeah, but all in all, I mean, no matter how it turns out, I'm just excited to have tournaments back. I mean, the weather's starting to warm up, but in the Midwest here, it kind of not really enough to go out and really have a super enjoyable time with the weather and the ground conditions. I mean, you're going to be soaked, you're going to be cold, you're not going to feel great coming back. It's good to get out, but I'm really excited to kind of. Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of start feeling, round play and not just field work videos or gimmicky videos that you can kind of see on social media now. I'm kind of excited for kind of the real, let's get into the hardest season. I know every year I watch, Las Vegas Challenge, the belt in the last couple of years, Waco.
Yep.
And
Waco's
really
fun.
And then up to the Memorial. I always watch really, really heavy. And then I kind of start to tail off because that's when it gets into when I can start playing.
You don't have to live vicariously through the pros.
Pretty much.
Be like, I can hit that shot 600 feet later.
I'm really excited for this to get started up. It's kind of the start of my season every year that I just really enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
really excited about it too.
And I think it's a good thing incorporating some of the free stuff with your PDGA membership. Yeah. Not just getting the free round. The last round is free, except for, I think, USDGC and a couple other things on YouTube, on the Disc Golf Network YouTube channel. So that's kind of nice. So you can see the end.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see when it comes into the, they talked about how they're doing the price increase to make up for the better quality, what that's going to mean in the next couple of years. Yeah. I mean, is the quality going to really actually be, with what we say is on par with,
I'm sorry,
Jomez and Central Coast.
And I know.
It is a little different. It's a little bit harder just because that's post-produced. They don't have to broadcast anything.
Yep.
But...
yeah, and that's the thing. When it's live, it brings in a whole different scenario that hasn't really been done to the best it could be. So I'm excited to see what that can lead for. Maybe not necessarily this year. I don't know how quickly they'll get that implemented, but in the next 2 to 3 years for sure.
Well, they've got some new transmitter stuff. I listened to one of the interviews. They're very happy to buy. I guess they're like super, super high end, very, very expensive stuff, but supposed to help with some of the transmission issues from the cameras then out to the internet.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think about it, when you're...
What I'm hearing is that they just went to Radio Shack and bought a couple of different antennas.
There's no Radio Shack anymore.
I know. That is very much a 90s reference there.
Here's the thing. For my DJ equipment, my mixing board, I bought from Radio Shack. I'm slowly selling everything, and I don't know what this thing's worth because it's not been made in 10 plus years.
It's easy. You don't sell it in your electronics pages. You go to your antique pages, and that's where you can sell it.
Just about collectors.
There you go.
Collectors page.
You're done with DJing now that you've DJ'd all of your friends' weddings?
Yep. I can no longer get more friends.
They got to figure it out for their second wedding.
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah.
That's a reference for all two of us.
For when my DJ pronounced my name wrong at my own wedding.
Yep.
And this DJ happens to be on this phone call with us, and it's not RJ.
Who could it be?
Wait. Is it John?
Yeah.
Yes. That fourth host sits in the yellow square, which...
when you try to get your DJ drunk because he's one of your good friends was not necessarily the best choice I could have made at my wedding.
Yeah, I blame you, Dan.
Oh, man.
It just occurred to me that the yellow square I'm referring to is where any of the video watchers sees the Half in the Bag logo.
Yeah, and all of our listeners see absolutely nothing.
Yes, you can hear the color yellow.
Yes. And that feels about like the right place to end this episode.
We strung out the end a good 20 minutes like we normally do. So I think that sounds about right to start wrapping it up here for the third time now.
Solid Midwest goodbye. It takes about 25 minutes.
A couple different stages. Everyone remember to follow us on @HalfInTheBagDG on Twitter. Follow Joe @Joe's Disc Golf on Twitter. Find him on Facebook. And
Instagram.
Obviously, you can listen to this on YouTube on his YouTube page.
All the YouTubes.
If you're watching this and decide that you don't want to look at our ugly faces, you can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts. Anchor, FM,
Apple,
Spotify. Apple, Google, etc.
All the major places.
Yes, all the places that you find your good podcasts. You can also find
this one, yes.
Those of you listening, if you want to look at our ugly faces, I don't know why, but you can find it on YouTube, as I said. Follow Joe on Instagram. I don't know how Instagram works, so Joe, go ahead and drop that one.
@Joe's Disc Golf. It's just like Twitter with pictures.
Nailed it. I don't have an Instagram, so
it's Twitter for pictures, and that's about it.
It's Twixtures?
Sure. I
had to make sure that I wasn't gonna say something that was gonna need to be censored there.
I do have a series of videos coming out. I'm still recording them as they come out, but all about warm up and different things you can do to take care of yourself before, during, and after disc golf.
So there's some disc golf aftercare videos?
There will be a disc golf cool down, and then I'm going to do a whole foam rolling deal about it. Yeah. And I know what you're trying to do, and I'm choosing to ignore it.
Yeah,
Happy endings?
make sure that if you have any listener questions, you can submit them at Anchor FM/halfinthebagdg. Right, Joe?
Yep.
Okay.
You
Wanted
can
to make sure I had that one right. Joe runs that page.
Yes.
You can also tweet them at us at our Twitter handle at halfinthebagdg.
YouTube comments. I'm pretty good about that. There is a Reddit, Joe_disc_golf, or it's Joe's
disc
_disc golf.
DISC.
Yeah. _golf on Reddit. Trying to get that one more and more, active, slowly but surely. If not, I'm fairly active on the disc golf Reddit, so you can always just tag me and I will most likely see it. And I will try to answer to the best of my ability. I will not diagnose over the internet because, no.
That's a terrible idea. Go see your doctor if you need a diagnosis.
Yes.
The other thing is we do have web pages. It's halfinthebagdg.com.
Yep.
For our page and joesdiscgolf.com. I know we're super original here.
And I've got merch.
Yes, he's got merch. Buy it, support him. It goes into making his podcast better, which ultimately makes our podcast better.
Yep. The knock-on effect.
Well,
there are
we
two different coffee cups. This is all Joe's Disc Golf. I'm working on Half in the Bag. We don't exactly have a logo, so I don't really have anything to put on a shirt. We've got shirts, two different kinds of sweatshirts, a regular hoodie, a fleece-lined hoodie, a polo shirt, and coffee mugs.
Yes. If you want pictures of my research assistant Pepper to put on stuff, let me know. You won't get them, but I can send you pictures anyway.
Yes.
That's what my mini marker is now, is a picture of my dog Pepper, who, if you were watching, you probably saw some of earlier when she was being a brat.
It is what it is.
And you've probably heard her, because I think my mic has picked up a little bit of her excitement for the disc golf season, or maybe it was playing fetch with my wife. Whatever. 50-50 on that one.
Little A, little B.
Yeah. Mostly B, but... So, yeah, I think that's a good spot to end it. The Man Cave Bar is closed.
Yep, there's a sign behind me.
Joe just switched it to... And, any last thoughts, guys?
Right. No.
All right, Ben,
I
thanks
try
for
not
joining
to have any. They hurt my
this
head.
week.
Yeah, glad to be back.
Yes, glad that your daughter is feeling better.
And you'll all know if anybody here gets sick on my end, because there won't be a podcast.
I mean, RJ and I can ramble, send you the crap, and just make you have to put it together.
Yeah,
because I don't
know if there wouldn't be a video, but there'd be audio.
Happen. Who knows what happened if RJ and I just chatting with no direction here? Somehow Joe actually being the glue that holds us together is the scary part about all this.
Oh my gosh,
it is pretty terrifying, to be completely honest. I'm the responsible one.
Yeah, Joe, thanks for being the sober responsible one, and listeners, viewers, thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with us. Bye.
Bye.
Later.